As you've heard, my name is Susan Kariuki, and I work for a youth organization in Kenya, actually one of the oldest youth organizations that has been working a lot with governance and development processes. And our core business is to make the youth factor count, and we just provide platforms for where young people can actually be nurtured and can use their talent to be able to advance governance and development processes. And when I was told to come and speak and talk about what we do, that's much about what the organization does. I don't think I have a lot of time to talk about that. I'll give you a brochure. Our focus was mostly to just find out what are Kenyans' young people's issue. And I wanted to draw your attention to some demographics that we have and speak mostly about how many we are in Kenya. We are 78.31% of the population below the age of 34 years. So that actually just confirms the youth bulge that we have. We are so many young people there. And you can already see the statistics for those ones between 0 and 14, 15 and 19, 20, 24, all that very useful information that actually then has influenced the work that we do in our country. And there are quite a number of issues that are facing young people in Kenya, and one of them being health issues, whether it's drug abuse, HIV prevalence, and those kind of things. Yet the information that they get, or the information that they don't have about health and reproductive health issues, are issues that we talk about are related to ICT, because no one actually teaches them in schools about health issues and how you can actually ensure that you don't involve yourself in drugs and get HIV and those STIs and sexually transmitted diseases. No one actually talks about them. We also have issues around education, and there are statistics there about the people who get enrolled in high schools, those ones who get enrolled in primary schools and university, and they're very, very high. But as to what is being taught in these high schools, or what is being taught in primary schools and universities, something worth actually just discussing and challenging. And what we found out from some work that was done by one of our board members, that's Katindi Sivi, in a book called Youth Fact Book, which is actually found online, has a lot of information about statistics about what is actually happening with young people in Kenya. We confirmed that we have issues with the education that is being provided in those institutions, that what people are being taught and what you find in the job market is totally different. So there's a total disconnect. And we also have issues around like absence of teachers in at least 4 classes. And you must have seen on BBC that the teachers actually went on strike because they want to be employed. We want to create add as many teachers in high schools as much as possible. There are also issues around that affect young people. I know maybe you also face the same, which is on the role of family in terms of just educating young people and empowering them. It's very, very minimal. Most of the education actually in Kenya is actually through the media. That's where they access their information. Unemployment, the same issue. We have very many people. The number is actually increasing from 15.9 in 1999 to actually 19.8 young people who are actually unemployed in Kenya right now. And the statistics are still going up, with many actually wanting formal employment, yet actually the jobs that are actually available in the market right now are on informal employment. There are things around participation. Young people want to participate in electoral processes. They want to participate in the many things that are happening in their country, but the space is not there. My main focus will actually be on youth and ICT, because again, it's an issue that is affecting young people in Kenya, that many of them use the new technology, that is mobile phones and internet, for entertainment. I think it's Fan who said that actually no one will buy a phone to use it to access information about what the government is doing or what the government is not doing. But many people want to buy the phones or use internet for that reason. And those are the statistics of the mobile phone users in Kenya. actually the statistics there actually from the World Bank are just confirming out of 1,000 people how many people use internet. The low-income people are 63, middle class 46, 13, and mobile phones 83, 43, 17. So in itself, you can already see that we have more low-income people using mobile phones than internet, and even the ones who use the telephone mainlines or the personal computers or television set. And actually that's what led Youth Agenda to launching an initiative that we call the SMS web interface. In 3 minutes, I know my time is actually, I'm almost getting out of my time, is that what we do, and which is what I've shared with you in like a small card, we use this to track and monitor petty corruption at the grassroots level. So we involved young people and ask them to monitor what people are doing on the ground that is not accessible. So they send an SMS to a number with a code. That SMS comes to Youth Agenda. We send it back to a change agent, someone who has been trained to track what people are doing on the ground. So they confirm that that information is true. Once it's confirmed, it's sent or it's linked to the Kenya Anti-Corruption Commission website. And we ask them to take an action because those are the ones who can take sanctions against anyone who is involved in corruption. The same has been used to educate young people on governance processes. We use this during the referendum, and where we sent SMSs to about 5,000 young people who we have in our database, telling them about the gains of young people in the Constitution. And we also use the same for opinion polling, where we would ask them questions and they'd actually respond to them by telling us actually what they feel about anything about the Constitution and the like. The other ICT project that we have is through a Google network. We have over 10,000 plus members in what we call the Young Leaders Network and the National Youth Council Network. So when people come for a meeting like this, we collect their email addresses and their telephone numbers. We go and key them in our database, and we keep following you up, empowering you and educating you on actually the things that we need you to know that are important that you might not actually get when you come for a meeting. There are quite a number of challenges that we face, and the first one is database management. It's very, very expensive, and it's also not very consistent when people do not give you their email addresses, or when you go to a rural area and some of them do not even have those email addresses, so then you cannot be able to maintain that database management. There's issues around consistency and a lack of a moderator. Most of the time they want to use the Google network or the SMSs to send dirty SMSs, hate speech messages, because there is no moderator. So that is actually one of the challenges that we've actually been facing even as we implement this. The other one is security and privacy. Some of them say that if I send an SMS reporting someone who has bribed someone, I don't know, I might be followed by the government. So there are those fears that they have once in a while. Again, when we started the project, but now we have more people sending SMSs, which then it's easier for them. Some of them are young people who do not have jobs because this infrastructure costs you 5 shillings more. So some of them say they don't have credit. So as an institution, what we had to do through some of the donors that we have been engaging with is to take up the cost ourselves and ask them to just send for free for a certain period of time, after which then we leave it for them to continue as long as it actually interests them. And then the other one was popularizing the short code messages. That's why we had to do those small tabs or cards that I shared with you, so then people can actually get to know about it. You'll see that that was a full number, but now we've reduced it to a short code because it's actually easy for people to remember, but during the initial stages, people had difficulty sending it. Way forward and recommendations for me, and especially with donors, is it is working. It is actually working in Kenya, where we don't spend a lot of money calling people for meetings, or where we call young people to come for meetings from 8 to 5 o'clock because they need to be working, looking for money to empower themselves economically. So we send them SMSs, we educate them through SMSs on civic education or whatever information they actually need to know, and alerting them. So it's good to invest in it. So that then, but through informal setups. They don't like formal setups. So you can't keep sending them all the time about information about what the government is supposed to be. Keep changing it and making it interesting for them. When they hear even you talking about health issues, they love it more when you talk about accountability and governance issue. ICT, the second one is that we need to invest in database. database management is not a one-day event. You have to do it over a period of time, and it has to be something that someone is actually busy just trying to look for this information. We need moderators for all the sessions because you can't have one person or just one person contributing and then they go. I found it like in many times in our country or through the Google network of those people, 10,000 people, is that they can start talking about sex and that drives the agenda for 1 week. So if we don't have a moderator who comes on board and retracts that discussion, then we lose it. So, but when we have a moderator who is trying to help people discuss issues in their constituency, in their county, in their country, then it becomes very, very focused and it has actually yielded more results. Finally, it is less time consuming, it's faster, and it's very cheap. You don't need to invest a lot of money in workshops and in hotels where you pay a lot of money. This is very, very fast. It makes people just get all the information they need through an SMS, and then you can actually wrap it up when you have a meeting to just help them see where you're coming from and where you're going. Thank you so much.